Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Star Trek Deep Space Nine review show. My name is Fletcher. About to say hello is Data.
Hola.
Hola. So, Data, I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we joined the great Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcasts and started uploading to actual podcasting platforms like Apple, iTunes,
Right, yeah.
other ones that exist.
Google.
Oh, sure. What? I'm going to research what ones there are, and then I will upload to them.
Yep.
I know one of them is iTunes. But I was thinking, before we do that, I think there's a crucial thing we're missing.
Yep.
And that is that the our Deep Space Nine review and discussion show does not have a title.
Yeah.
Despite my best intentions to come up with one. So today we're not discussing an episode. We are gonna put our brain power together. We're gonna analyze all aspects of title making and come up with the perfect Star Trek Deep Space Nine review and discussion podcast title. I think a good place to start would be to look at some of the some of those who have gone before.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what kind of Deep Space Nine podcasts are out there.
So I'm going to Google Deep Space Nine podcasts.
Already did.
Nice.
Oh man, Aaron Eisenberg and Sarah Lofton co-hosted a podcast on Deep Space Nine?
I know that Jake Sisko did or still does have one. Of course, Aaron Eisenberg, unfortunately, has passed away.
Right, yeah. It says that he co-hosted until his death, so...
what's that one called?
The Seventh Rule.
Oh, interesting. What is the seventh rule? Of acquisition, I assume.
Yeah, I assume. Let's see. Seventh rule of acquisition is... Don't trust a man wearing a better suit than your own.
Interesting. Interesting choice. But okay, so we got rules of acquisition.
Oh, hold on. Maybe it's keep your ears open. That makes more sense.
Oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. Sorry, I just Googled, and that was the one that popped up at the top of Google. Then I clicked the actual rules of acquisition article, and that was what was listed as number 7.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
That makes way more sense. I'm going to open a new notes document here, because we're going to go through this. Okay. So, possible themes. Rules of acquisition.
Sure, that's a good one. I like something about one of the orbs, although there's apparently one called the Orb.
Okay. So orbs / Tears of the Prophets.
Yep. Morn, maybe something with Morn. We love Morn.
Okay, anything about Morn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they already have the Who Mourns Morn pun episode title, but I feel like there's room for something else with that same pun.
We could be like Morn laughing. Morn laughing featuring Data laughing and Fletcher from the Deep. We'll put that on the list. See what else? Okay, we have Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast.
Interesting. The Muse, Deep Space Nine, SoundCloud. Uncanny Treks, that's not a bad name that somebody is using. Rebinge Deep Space Nine, well, that certainly explains it.
Yeah, that's a good, very descriptive title.
Listen to the Prophets, okay. Oh, See It or Skip It, Deep Space Nine Season 1. I like that. That's a
good hook.
Yeah, too bad somebody already took that hook.
We need to steal that idea and then kill those guys.
Too young for this Trek, a Star Trek Discovery podcast.
I feel like some of these I've Googled are not Deep Space Nine podcast, like Deep Space High, Kids Guide to Space podcast. First of all, Deep Space High sounds like it's about something else.
Yep, it sure does. Or about high school, I guess. But
yeah, I think that's what they're going for. But
Star Trek: The Next Conversation. See, that's a nice title. I like that.
Ooh, is that just about Deep Space Nine?
I'm just on the list of best Star Trek podcasts. It looks like it may be Next Generation centric, which makes sense with that name. The It's Got Star Trek podcast. I don't know what that means. What's got Star Trek?
Apparently there is one called The Orb. Did you say that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was like, I thought like using an orbs was a good thing, but there is one called The Orb, is what I said. So yeah. Reopening the wormhole. See, that's a good one.
Sure. Yeah, that's good because it highlights the retrospective nature. Yep. So I'm going to make a note.
On this one, they apparently randomly select an episode each week to analyze, which that's the way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Spin the Dabo wheel to reveal next week's episode. Okay, well that's a good gimmick. I like that.
Yeah, sure. Best. So wait, is this the one you're looking at? Best Deep Space Nine podcasts?
No, I'm just on like top 70 best Star Trek podcasts. I'm just going down the list.
I wish we would have thought of this one. The Pod Wraiths.
Wow.
A Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast.
See, that feels like pod racing to me, though. I don't...
True. When you see it written out, it's a little bit more... But,
Into the Wormhole. That makes sense. There's a Star Trek Deep Space Nine thing.
Keeping Up with the Cardassians.
Oh, God. Shut up, Wesley. I like that.
Geek Space Nine.
Another idea I had was something Garrick related because Garrick's great.
Okay, sure. What you got?
No, I just meant like as a general thing.
Okay.
Although the only specific one I'd come up with was like waiting for Garrick, like a waiting for Godot sort of.
Sure, might need a little workshopping, but I like the direction. Errant Space.
Duet from Deep Space Nine. That's not bad.
Deep Space Noob.
That wouldn't really fit.
Oh, this is good. The RSS Defiant.
That's clever.
Do people still use RSS anymore, though?
Well, yeah, a lot of like my Podbean, my other podcast, the Sanderlanche podcast, for Brandon Sanderson fans. That's how because I upload the podcast to Podbean, the server, and then that's how like Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and all that stuff. That's where they draw from, is through the RSS feed.
Oh, sure, okay. So we have Dope Space Nine.
Deep Space Dive. That's not bad.
Of Bajor, Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast.
See, there's like the weird stuff the prophets say has all sorts of possibilities. I was just like, we are the Cisco. Why not?
Lower Decks, a Star Trek podcast.
I like that show.
I think that must be about that show, not Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Yeah, I think suddenly this has stopped giving me Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcasts.
There can only be so many, I guess.
It's like Amateur Detective Club. This doesn't seem to have anything to do with Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The podcast where three friends, Melissa Melly, Tyler Riley, and Tristan Miller, read the works of Agatha Christie, summarize, discuss, and rate the novels, novellas, TV episodes, or short story they've chosen.
Hey, that's a good niche. I like that.
Yeah.
I've never read really anything Agatha Christie. I kind of always meant to, but I never have.
I just, the only thing close I've read is this great essay I read by Raymond Chandler, like one of the inventors of the hard-boiled detective genre. Mm-hmm. And he breaks down an Agatha Christie story and explains how a real detective would have investigated it and solved it in like 5 minutes. He's like, he would have taken everybody's stories, then he would have gone and ran down everybody's stories, and he quickly would have found out like all these details that aren't consistent. Instead of just like hanging around in the house and like trying to logic it all out from what people are telling him.
Yeah, I guess that's like a very Sherlock Holmes thing too, is that Sherlock Holmes is like, people tell me the stuff and I don't need to pursue it necessarily. Right. For more complex ones he does, but most of the time he's just figuring it out while sitting in his chair at home.
Right, exactly.
Rom's an idiot. There you go. Podcast name done. So is this going to be a normal episode, or are you going to release this as another like extras sort of thing?
No, yeah, this will be in extras.
Okay.
I don't want to anger our 6 subscribers.
I'm reading like just random Deep Space Nine quotes, trying to come up with something that that fits. Picard never hit me. There you go.
Okay. I'll put that. I'll put that down. You never know what that ever hit me. Okay, so okay, you dig through some quotes. I'm going to write down the names of the characters here. So we got Cisco, Odo, Dax, Quark, Rom, Nog, Jake, Kira.
Spoiler Worf.
Mystery future Klingon.
No,
when is Worf gonna get here?
It was just because I was reading a quote, and it's like, Kira says, I suppose your gods are less vague, and Worf says, our gods are dead. And I was like, there's a title for something. Maybe not this podcast, but just our gods are dead.
That's a little too intense.
Yeah.
That's like a Nietzsche podcast.
I'm going to start one of those.
Man, I would not want to meet the person who listened to a podcast called Our Gods Are Dead.
Oh, what about something, once again, spoiler, something Dominion related? You're like,
okay.
The Ketracel White Show. No, that sounds racist. Don't do that.
So, Dominion, Vorta, Jim Hadar.
Vorta clone Wayun 336. I don't know. I'm making
the founders. There might be something there.
I'm sorry, I have no vices for you to exploit. Thank you, Tosk.
Oh yeah, that Tosk episode had some great quotes. Like, so I am Tosk. I live for the hunt. I live to outsmart the hunters for one more day.
He apparently also says, die with honor. That's another quote that's in here.
Die with honor. That's how we should sign out.
I like it. Yep. Or just be like, outsmart the hunters for one more day, audience.
It's true. Remember to die with honor, outsmart the hunters for one more day.
You gotta reverse that. Outsmart the hunters for one more day, or else die with honor. As long as you do one of those, you're good.
And stop by anytime you're feeling homesick.
It's a fake!
Oh my gosh. That's one of those clips that's just on YouTube.
Yep. What is it that he says during that baseball episode? Death to the opposition.
Yeah, death to the opposition. We're putting all this down. Death to the opposition. Let's go to Dax. Oh, Bashir. We left out Bashir.
That's on purpose.
So I just have those up so I can think of... maybe they'll inspire something.
Lying is like any other skill. And to maintain a level of excellence, one has to practice constantly.
Good quote. Hard to
you can't.
Hard to farm a title out of that.
Yeah.
But lying practice. A Deep Space Nine podcast.
You'd shoot a man in the back? What's the safest way, really?
Maybe something like alluding to a confusion with Babylon 5, like Babylon Bajor or
Deep Space 5. No, that doesn't.
Yeah. We very rarely see any other deep space stations.
Yeah, the only other one that I could think of offhand is, like, I think there's an original series episode where they go to Deep Space K7 or something. That may be the Tribbles episode, actually.
Maybe some kind of pun on Terok Nor.
Yep, it's Deep Space Station K7 in the Tribbles episode. Man, I'm good.
Oh, man. We may visit that someday.
What? No way. Not in a Deep Space Nine show. What reason would there be for that?
I don't know. I mean, I can't, it's hard to imagine, but maybe we'll see a Tribble. Terok Nor.
Terok Morn. No. Well, if your mind's made up, I won't confuse you with facts. That's a good Garrick. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how that's a title either, but Confusing with Facts. A Deep Space Nine podcast.
That reminds me of a Mark Twain quote, but I have no idea how it goes.
See, okay, so going back to the orbs, I was reading the list of orbs. There's the Orb of Contemplation, which I think works perfectly as a podcast discussing show. You got the Orb of Prophecy and Change. I don't know if that's better. And then in Memory Beta, with all the book stuff, there's all sorts of other orbs. The Orb of Truth, the Orb of Unity, the Orb of Realms. Oh, that's a weird one.
The Orb of...
The Red Orbs of Jalbador.
Ooh. I'm looking at all kinds of stuff and seeing where I can cram in the word pod. It's like Tears of the Pod Fits.
Now that's pod racing. I don't know how that fits at all. But...
pod card never hit me.
Oh, that's tortured. I love it.
The pod minion. That sounds like something to do with the minions.
It does, yes. There's all in the rules of acquisition. Profit is mentioned a lot. You can change it to pod fit. That doesn't really. Knowledge equals pod fit. That sounds like a fitness show. No good deed ever goes unpodcasted.
Yep. Feel like we're getting farther away.
Yep. When Morn leaves, it's all over is one of the unofficial rules of acquisition.
That's rule 291.
There's the title. When Morn leaves, it's all over.
Ooh. I like the idea of having something involving Morn. I also like the idea of something alluding to Garrick. And I like the ones, like, that hint at, like, it's a retrospective. We're not doing anything like Keeping Up with the Cardassians.
Mourning Deep Space Nine, as if you're mourning, but it's Morn instead. See, that's a retrospective, and it works
almost. Almost. Re-binge Deep Space Nine.
Okay, so instead of re-binge, you turn it into like a revenge thing, or you take revenge and make it re-binge. So it's like re-binge of the prophets.
This orb podcast seems pretty popular because it's like on every single list I see. So I think they have gotten their dibs on the orb reference. Listen to the prophets.
Inter arma enim silent leges. Just steal that title outright from an episode of Deep Space Nine. Just go past prologue. Now I'm just stealing episode titles, but Quark's Bar Association, or the Hollow Suite podcast. Quark's Hollow Suite. I don't know.
No bad ideas in brainstorming. Deep Space Dive.
The dive is cast. Because it's a podcast, so the die is cast. Hold on, there's got to be somewhere I can go with that. The Die is podcast sounds like a D&D podcast, so that's not...
Yeah. Also, the Die is cast isn't a...
It's just an episode title. I was skimming through the episode titles.
Well, it's like a saying outside.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of the best ones are, I guess. Like,
True,
Paradise Lost is a great episode. I don't know that... That sounds like a Lost podcast.
An inebriated Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast.
The Bar Association. See, there's... Hey, LeVar Burton directed that one.
Oh, cool. Or how about Ractigino with extra cream?
Broken Link. That's like, in the internet age, that has a whole other meaning.
Oh, yeah. It actually took me a second to think of what else that could be referring to. The Pod Wraiths. So...
The Blaze of Glory podcast. Ooh, what about Empok Nor instead of Terok Nor? Something like...
Sure.
I don't know what exactly to do with that, but...
Impod Nor?
Who mourns for Morn, and just be like, we mourn for Morn.
Just mourning for Morn, although that's a little confusing.
It really is.
CSI Deep Space Nine.
I like it. But not CSI Deep Space Nine, CSI DS9. There's no words in this.
What about like DS9 Miami?
That would make sense if we were in Miami.
Yeah, and then calling it like DS9 Texas wouldn't.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
It wouldn't carry the joke.
Nope.
No, I'm just thinking of a spin-off of Deep Space Nine that takes place in Miami.
If there was a spin-off of DS9, it would take place in New Orleans, and it would be about the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. DS9 New Orleans. And then Worf moves to New Orleans as a cop.
It's the Chief Wiggum spin-off. Oh my gosh.
Way of the Warfier.
Wow.
Yeah, well, we're definitely in good company, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to look at one more page of this stuff and then...
In the hands of the prophets. We'll give you that. In the hands of the podcast.
Tiers of the podcast.
Yeah,
just completely replace prophets with podcast. So something about Bajor. What if we did a pun where we replaced the word major with Bajor? Are there any sayings that involve the word major?
For some reason, when you say major, the only thing I think of is the 90s sitcom Major Dad, which doesn't work at all.
Drum major.
Drum Bajor.
Drum Bajor.
Called up to the majors. Called up to the Bajors.
The Bajor Leagues.
The Bajor Leagues, yep. Major upset. So Bajor upset. You can major in something, so you can Bajor in Deep Space Nine.
Undeclared Bajor.
Wow, I actually kind of like that.
All right, I'll write it down.
So the rules of acquisition. Sorry,
okay.
I'm going off in a different direction. So the rules of podcast of acquisition. No,
there might be something there.
Why do I keep coming back to Keeping Up with the Kardashians? It's so wrong. A changeling for the better.
Oof.
No. Temple of the Prophets, so it's Temple of the Podcast.
Almost.
A stable wormhole. Just
a stable of wormholes.
No, just a stable wormhole. A man alone when there's two people on the show. Tinker, Tailor, Garrick, Spy.
Ooh. Okay, wait. Tinker, Tailor, okay. I'm gonna let that one stew.
Tinker, Tailor, Podcast, Spy.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with so what's a word that sounds kind of like tinker?
Bashir.
Bashir Taylor. No. This is.
Oh, what about because this show's where you get introduced to Section 31. So
sure, okay.
You have a section. You just go Section 31. That might be too theft. Too much theft.
Podcast 31.
That could work.
Podcast 31. Okay, I'm putting it on the list.
The Real Housewives of Bajor.
That's as bad as Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, now I'm just gonna go for reality shows. So you got the Bajor Shore. Yep, I'm searching for a list of reality shows now. Dancing with the Klingons.
Bajor Hills 90210.
Deep Space Choppers. Kitchen Nightmares, DS9. The Amazing Race Wars. No, that doesn't. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I don't think we want to...
Odo the Bounty Hunter. The Great Bajoran Bake Off. Oh, that's... There you go.
Sure. Top Gear Bajor.
Project Deep Space Nine. Queer Eye for the Bajoran.
Bajor Eye for the...
Cardassian Eye for the... I don't know.
Wow, Alf had spin-offs?
I had no idea.
Alf the Animated Series, Alf Tales, and Alf's Hit Talk Show.
Okay, is there a way to do punked? Like some short word that you can add apostrophe D to the end. Like Odoed. Garricked. That could be good. Bashired. See, the thing about these names, though, like Garrick or even Bashir, or it's just like, when you see the name Garrick, you know exactly what that's about. Like, it's not like Garrick Jones from the next block over. You know what Garrick is referenced to. So that's all the context you need in the title.
I totally forgot about that Battlestar Galactica spinoff. Caprica.
Oh yeah, Caprica. Sorry, I didn't know if you meant the original Battlestar Galactica, which also had a spinoff.
Oh yeah, Galactica 1980. I'm just looking at a list of spinoffs. Somehow I feel like there's some gold in here.
Mork and Mindy was a spinoff.
Well, there was a new Adventures of Captain Planet.
Quark and Mindy. I don't know how that would...
Quark and... But then, like, one of us would have to be Quark, and one of us would have to be...
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
Or whoever...
Quark and Data. Major Kira's Drag Race.
Well, Count Duckula had a spinoff?
I've never even heard of Count Duckula.
Neither have I. Oh, it's a British children's animated.
Ah.
But, like, it's based on this thumbnail. It's exactly what you think it is.
60 Minutes had a spinoff? It's called 60 Minutes 2. What?
Man, there's a lot of spinoffs. Digimon, come on.
Digimon, I feel like, had sequel series. I don't think you can count
Yeah,
that as
these
spinoffs.
aren't spinoffs. Give me a break.
All That did have a lot of spinoffs. It's kind of like Saturday Night Live, though. It's like the Nickelodeon version of Saturday Night Live, where you find some really good skits and spin them off into stuff.
Miami Inc., Real Housewives of Miami.
The Archie Show had a spin-off called Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but it was a 1970s show.
Huh.
Also a 1977 series called Sabrina Super Witch. Sabrina and the Groovy Ghoulies. Man, Sabrina was popular.
Like, Raw Tunage, what the heck is that? But it had 2 spinoffs.
Babylon 5 did have some spin-offs, that's true.
Oh, it did?
Well, it had one spin-off that actually became a series, and then one that was a failed pilot for another one.
Okay, this spinoff's, this guy's too far away.
No, you're right. I was like, wait, Beast Wars had a spin-off, but it wasn't Beast Wars 2. It was Beast Machines. What am I looking at?
Okay, so...
Right, we're doing the thing.
I'm compiling our best ones so far. So we got More and Laughing,
Bejor's Got Talent,
Undeclared Bejor, Podcast 31. You know, I'm gonna put Death to the Opposition in there.
I like it.
Death to the pod. No, it's not.
No, yeah, don't mess with it. It's too perfect.
You know, I feel like it kind of fails to properly brand it.
It
as
does.
A Deep Space
It
Nine
100%
podcast.
does. Death to the pod's position. No.
Yeah.
That's so tortured. How do you turn Buffy the Vampire Slayer into a Deep Space Nine podcast? Worfy the Dominion, the Jem'Hadar Slayer.
Okay, so wait, who sounds the most like Buffy? Yeah, Worfy. Worfy the Vorta Slayer.
Nice.
Does Worf ever kill a Vorta? I don't.
Oh, he absolutely does. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a great quote where he kills, like, spoilers. He kills like Wayun 6, and then Wayun 7 is having a conversation with Damar, and Damar's like, maybe you should go talk to Worf again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the spoiler warning here.
Yep.
Or am I even still recording? Yeah, 40 minutes into the.
Oh God.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through. So Cisco. What are some things associated with Cisco?
Baseball.
New Orleans.
Yep.
What's the name of his alter ego?
Oh, from when he goes back in time, he's like Benny, or like hallucinates being back in time.
Right, or whatever. Or
Benny Russell is his name when he's doing that.
Goes into a prophet.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, whatever that was. Okay. See Odo, he's made of goo.
The temporal prime directive.
I
think this is when that concept is introduced, is in this show also, so that's why it made me think of that.
Oh, really? They never mentioned it in, like...
I don't think so. Hold on. The temporal prime. Because it's like those two guys show up after they've gone back in time, and they're just like, man, Kirk. That guy was always violating stuff.
After, 560 times they went back in time, they're like, maybe we should have a prime directive for this.
Okay, no, it's mentioned by Picard in an episode. Okay.
Before Deep Space Nine?
The episode A Matter of Time. Oh, no, but in his thing, he's like, oh yeah, this guy's from the future. Maybe he has like something like our prime directive, like some sort of temporal prime directive.
Ah. So that's not the temporal prime directive.
Right.
Okay. How about, can we think of any puns on Gold Press Latinum, like Podcast Latinum?
Making it rain Latinum. I don't.
Going Latinum. The Latinum album. Nog. Nog sounds like eggnog. Can we play with that?
I don't know why you'd want to.
ROM sounds like computer ROM. Oh, what are the different kinds of quarks? Like up quark, down quark?
I remember they're called flavors, and there's strange and or is it weird? Hold on.
No, I think strange sounds
flavors. Right. Yeah, there's up and down. Okay, there's 6 flavors. There's up, down, bottom, top, strange, and charm.
Oh yeah, charm quark. Strange quark.
Stranger quarks. Now I'm doing Stranger Things.
We gotta capitalize on the
the popularity of Stranger Things. Quarker things. No, that doesn't sound right. That was a corker, mate. See, that's what it sounds like when I said it.
Jake Sisko, Kira Nerys, Dr. Julian Bashir. The Med Bay.
Not our man Bashir.
The Pod Bay.
Open the Pod Bay doors, Hal. No, that doesn't.
Almost.
Running out of runabouts.
Runabout
is fair play. No. Runabout is fair podcast. That's strained. Okay.
How about just the runabout?
That's not bad.
Okay, I'll put that on the list. I'm going to give us 15 more minutes tops to talk about this, then we're going to make a decision.
Yeah, I should probably go to bed at some point, so.
Oh, lame work.
Yeah, I know, right? The aphasia virus. Because what we say makes no sense.
The Tower of Babel.
The space station of Babel. See, it's like, it's a metaphor.
Babylon 5.
No, that doesn't work at all.
That is kind of weird that isn't Babel the 5th episode? Hold on a second.
It is the 5th episode. I mean, I guess depending on whether you count Emissary as 1 or 2, but yeah.
Wait a second. Whoa.
Are we the first ones to discover this hidden code?
Illuminati confirmed.
Yep.
What? I don't know if we can use that, but
I don't know how, but Q's cousins. That's us.
Super Koopa cousins.
I want to be Iggy Koopa. Wait.
Was she corpulent? Very corpulent?
Now I have to look up the Koopalings' names. Yeah, Larry. Maybe it'd be Larry Koopa. He's a good Koopa.
I was just thinking about the ones from the movie.
Why would you ever think of the movie?
Just because those are the ones that call themselves the Super Koopa Cousins.
Okay.
And they tried to sell their idea to a Japanese video game company at the end of the movie.
Ludwig has the best hair.
Oh, true.
Okay. Anyway, back to flavors of Quark. Flavors of Quark.
Flavors of Quark. Okay, okay.
That sounds like an atomic physics sort of show, but it's.
Well, it's okay. It hints at Deep Space Nine, and it sounds kind of intellectual too.
Yep.
It's got a hidden.
Maybe too good for us, honestly.
Yeah, I'd feel bad though if somebody else used that. Die with honor. Yeah, we're not going with die with honor.
Oh, what a shame. You still use it as the sign out.
How about the Jim Podar?
Whoa! Wow. That's horrible, and yet I can't look away.
It is pretty horrible. I don't even know if I can put it on this list, but I'll do it. The Jim Pod. I don't even know how I would write that. Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Wolf 359 doesn't really happen in this series, but the first episode. But
I want a list, just like a list of random free association Deep Space Nine concepts. How do I Google that?
Okay, so what pieces of Deep Space Nine are there? Like, you got the docking ring. That's not a very interesting name.
There's the pylons.
The pylons.
There's the habitat ring.
Habitat ring.
There's the promenade.
The promenade. That's not a bad.
The promenade. The podmanade.
The ore refinery.
There's ops.
Sure, ops. That's a good one.
There's the
Denorius belt. I don't think that works.
There's the assayer's office.
Spanning 2 quadrants, a Deep Space Nine podcast.
Ooh, a tale of 2 quadrants.
Ooh, yeah, okay, see, that's better. Jumjustics, the podcast.
Jumjustics review.
We're gonna go watch girls get off of the transports. Oh gosh.
The Vulcan homework thieves.
The Vulcan homework thieves. Oh, that's so weirdly specific that I love it.
These would be like good Deep Space Nine trivia names.
Yeah. The Vulcan homework thieves. We need to do that next time we go to trivia night, even though it has nothing to do with the trivia.
Oh, hey, I didn't remember that Quark met Harry Kim.
Oh, neither did I. That must have been the premiere of
Voyager Caretaker. It's the picture of the day on Memory Alpha.
The Maquis. Are we the Maquis?
The Pod Key? No, wait, that's doesn't quite fit.
Yeah. Podcasting in the demilitarized zone. No, that sounds like we're in Korea. In the Cardassian demilitarized zone. That's kind of long, though.
The CDMZ.
DS9, DMZ. Gul Dukat fanboys. Not really. Gul Dukat did nothing wrong. A podcast.
I can't think of a single thing that he did that was bad in that show.
The Datapa Council. That was the rulers of the Cardassians. We could be a council.
There is a podcast called The Morning Laugh.
Wow, that's...
So, like, Morn Laughing. If it's a popular podcast, that could be a fun pun.
Self-Replicating Minds, the podcast.
The Triple Minds.
Looking for Parmok, the podcast.
In all the wrong places. Is that the name of an episode?
Looking for Parmok in all the wrong places, yeah. Ooh, podcasting in all the wrong places. That sounds like we're a traveling show. That doesn't...
Podmox.
That sounds like... Yeah, is that Umox? Is that what we're going for?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the people listening to the show will wonder. It's like, is that a pun on Umox? If a podcast called Undeclared Bejor already exists, I'll be very sad.
Empok Nor, the Deep Space Nine podcast from the wrong sector. It's like we were looking for Tirok Nor, but we found the wrong place.
There's already a podcast called Podcast 31. But it's French, so...
Who cares about them?
Is this a Deep Space Nine podcast? I can't tell because I don't speak French. I don't think so.
Okay, hold on. Well, no, the most recent episode seems to be about Madame Butterfly, but let me see if I can get this translated.
But it's Voyage dans le temps. Doesn't that mean a voyage through time?
Okay, hold on. Here we go. I got it translated. Let's see. Vengeance, Madame Butterfly, and time travel. Nostalgia is on the agenda for the latest episode of Podcast 31. For life. Christian reveals a disturbing part of his private life. Catherine expresses her desire to have a nursery, and we welcome an old friend who has come back from afar.
So are these guys reviewing a TV show, or are they just their own like little TV show?
Okay, it's the first podcast dedicated solely to the District 31 show.
Which I assume is a show in France.
Yeah, in France.
Or some French-speaking country.
I mean, if you don't want to be confused with them, you can just be like, Section 31, a Deep Space Nine podcast.
No, I like Podcast 31 better. We're just going to steal it if we go with that one. Section 31. Okay, Podcast 31. Deep Space Nine. There's a Section 31 Star Trek podcast.
Okay.
But not Podcast 31. But wait, this sounds like it's just part of the orb, so I'm not quite clear.
The Section 31 file.
I think Podcast 31 is fair game.
It's French. They have no rights.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, how do you even say 31 in French? It's a totally different, like...
Yeah, that's probably true.
Death to the Opposition sticker for sale. Ooh.
Nice.
It's kind of a fun sticker. You can use it as a t-shirt, too.
The Lives of Dax.
The Runabout is another one that someone might have taken already. Let's see.
There's a band called The Runabouts, apparently. The Runabout Podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, but it's only got one episode. And it's Getting to Know Us /You. I think that one... And it's from like 2012. So I think that one is...
Oh, they've got Star Trek intro music.
Makes sense.
Podcast, The Sort of Final Frontier. Okay, yeah, that's a weird... okay.
I think we're fair to steal that. As long as we don't post this evidence that we already knew it existed.
I don't know. Apparently it was uploaded from Dallas. So...
Oh, nice.
I don't know if, like, Apple will let you have another one that's the exact same name as one they already list. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Red Shirts and Runabouts is a podcast.
That might screw us on podcast 31, too.
I like Red Shirts and Runabouts. That was a good name.
That is a good name. I like that. Just take two, like, Star Trek-y things and throw them together.
Wormholes and no.
Okay, Flavors of Quark definitely seems to not be taken.
Nice.
It's like you Google it and you start... Okay, it pulls up a podcast, but the title of the podcast is Dynamical Supersymmetry Breaking and the Origins of Flavor.
Flavors of Quark, if it's going to be a Star Trek podcast, sounds like a Star Trek cooking show. I want a Star Trek cooking show now called Flavors of Quark.
And Quark hosts.
Yeah, exactly.
He tells you how to get the tube grubs nice and chilled to perfection. Nathaniel Craig explores calculable models with low-energy supersymmetry, where the flavor hierarchy is generated by quark and lepton compositeness, where the composites emerge from the same sector that dynamically breaks supersymmetry. Sure, that's a good topic for a podcast.
I'm going to listen to that right after we're done.
That just doesn't seem like a very podcastable topic to me, but... I'm erasing Jim Podar off this list. That's terrible.
You're just like, I can't look at it. It hurts.
Okay. 2 quadrants.
Vulcan Homework Thieves is sticking with me.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. I think it has a trivia team name.
Yeah. We'll use that for trivia one of these days. Tale of 2 Quadrants definitely does not appear to be a podcast either. The Queer Quadrant.
Huh.
A Tale as Old as Time. Peanut and Chocolate versus Peanut Butter and Chocolate. Is that a tale as old as time?
Not that I know of.
Who will wear the crown?
Probably Peanut Butter and Chocolate.
So it's a vote between Peanut M&Ms and Reese's Pieces, which I must remind everybody, Reese's Pieces do not have chocolate in them.
Nope.
So the very premise of this poll is flawed, and Peanut M&Ms won.
Yeah, I buy that. What are we down to? What do we got?
We have 8 contenders. Any other ideas you want to throw out at the last minute?
No.
All right, so we have Morn Laughing, Undeclared Bejor, Podcast 31, Death to the Opposition, The Runabout, Flavors of Quark, A Tale of 2 Quadrants, and I'll put Vulcan Homework Thieves in there too. Just for... So are there any that you're just especially not feeling, or... Because I say we will this down to a finalist list and then use a random number generator to pick the title.
Morn Laughing seems strange to me. I don't know how much I like that one.
Okay, so I think we can whittle out Morn Laughing. That's fine.
And the other one I'm not sure on is The Runabout.
You're not sure on The Runabout. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just that we found that one episode of another show that had it, and that's like, and that's niggling at me. But I'm like, I don't know about The Runabout.
Just keep in mind, anything we put will be like, we'll have a Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast
Okay.
after it. So it's not like it'll just be the runabout.
Okay, then yeah, I'm okay with that. So okay, hit the list one more time for me.
All right. Undeclared Bejor. Podcast 31. Death to the Opposition. The Runabout. Flavors of Quark. A Tale of Two Quadrants. And of course, Vulcan Homework Thieves.
No, I'm okay with any of these. These are good.
Okay. So we have one. I'm going to number these. I wish I had a 7-sided die.
I have an 8-sided die with me, but...
You have a D8 right there?
I do.
I wish we could, show the roll of the D8 or whatever.
You want me to take a picture after it's rolled?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to scramble these.
Okay, yeah.
Wish there was an easy way to...
You should put them into Excel and then scramble them by, alphabetizing them or something.
No, but that would kind of... I think it should be kind of a double blind. At least half blind to me, half blind to you. Oh, I know what I'm going to do.
We didn't end up with any Garrick titles. I'm sad about that.
I mean, can you think of one?
No, I don't want to throw anything else in right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. In retrospect.
The thing is, we're going to decide on a title and then think of the perfect title tomorrow.
Yeah, obviously.
So, sometimes you just gotta commit. And we do this one more time. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have 7. Let me number these real fast. And to make sure everything's kosher, I will copy this list and I will email it to you. But don't look at your email.
I won't.
So I'm sending you this email.
Okay.
Just so everything's kosher.
Yep.
And then you roll the die and take a picture of it so I can put a picture of it on the...
Okay. So if I get an 8, we're going to call that a reroll, or how do we want to handle this? 7?
Yeah, 8 is reroll.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
So I hit send. All right, so here we go. The official die roll. Here it is.
Not an 8. So, okay, let's take a picture of this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to text you this picture.
Okay.
That way there's no...
Oh, it's...
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can make it to my phone without knocking over my iced tea.
Good plan.
Okay. Okay, the number is 4.
Yep.
4 corresponds to Undeclared Bejor.
Well, there we go.
We did it.
Yep.
We can't undo it.
Nope.
All right.
Not my first choice on the list, but not my last choice on the list either, so I'm good with it.
You know what? I can live with it.
Yeah.
I can live with it. So that job is done.
Now that we've done that, if you were going to just pick one yourself, which one would it have been?
You know, I couldn't have told you before I saw the official result.
Yeah.
But I think I would have picked Podcast 31.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. I think I would have gone Death to the Opposition.
That is a good one, too. That's a good one, too.
Okay, well. Undeclared Bejor it is. Let's see.
You know, it's easy to search. That's a good...
Yeah. It's very simple. I like it.
And it's unmistakable what the...
Yeah, exactly.
Is,
You 100% know what you're talking about. Just like what I said about Garrick. When someone says Bejor, you know what they're talking about.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll get in some Deep Space Nine fans. Anyway, I guess I'll just say to our listeners, if anybody listened to this whole conversation, thank you for listening to Undeclared Bejor, a Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast.
Special title edition.
Special title generating episode. Now we have to come up with a title for this episode.
Just pick one of the other titles and they'll use that as the title of the episode.
Title of this episode is Flavors of Quark.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, so if you made it this far, thank you for listening. I'm Fletcher. About to say goodbye is Data.
Die with honor.
Die with honor, Data. And die with honor to our listeners. May you outsmart the hunters for one more day. And remember to stop by anytime you're feeling homesick.
It's like 5 sign-offs. It's great. Okay.
Exactly.